Today on Nova Legends podcast, I have my pal, South Lakes Coach Mike Desmond, whose Seahawks are Northern Region champs for the third straight year, and they have a state quarterfinal matchup with Potomac on Tuesday at South Lakes. Coach, good to see you. Congratulations.
Thank you. It is good to be seen. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome. Well, it's interesting because the last 2 years you won region, you had very good teams, but the first year it was a very competitive region. You had a very experienced team, and you end up with an awesome chemistry, and you won it. Last year, you graduated everyone basically, but Jordan was obviously a top prospect. By the end of the year, you guys are playing great. You won it again. This year, you're everybody's favorite all along. So, I mean, you brought, I think 9 of your top 10 players of Rochester's transferred in, get up to New Zealand, blah. You had a decent JV team. Tyler Andre has emerged. Have you enjoyed this challenge of, every time you lose a game and when things don't go well, what's wrong with South Lakes? Or did you prefer the other challenges better?
I would say, each team gave a different feeling when we won it. And year one was just absolute joy. It's been so long since South Lakes had accomplished that. Year two, I was just always in shock because we were so young and new together. And you say that, and it's funny because you play 20 something games. How's the team new together? But they really were. This year, probably relief, to be 100% honest with you. We had everyone coming back. You mentioned the new pieces, although the Rochesters have been hurt basically all year. And Merrick from New Zealand, he's a sophomore, so it's up and down. But the level of hype and noise that was around this team was distracting sometimes. And I think it was a lot of managing egos and expectations, and not just the kids, the parents, and the community. It was very, very tough throughout the season, because, like you said, if we win, you're supposed to win. If you lose, you guys are the worst team ever. If you don't win by enough, what's wrong with you? So I think there's some unrealistic expectations when you put so much hype around us. And I said last spring and fall or whatever on the show, there are still a lot of great teams out there, and just the people who wanted to pick us outright from day one, I think that was a little naive.
Yeah. Well, is it restraining in some regard when you have a team with so many veterans back and everyone, it's so established, but you have all these great guys like Tyler who didn't play that much last year. You have Yoshi, I believe his name is, who's emerged lately. Is it tough sometimes because you're so established, you're reluctant to try new things and give new people a chance? Does it make it hard to give people a chance when you have so many established players back?
I would say, like, yes and no, right? We threw out the playbook probably 2 or 3 times this year, and we had to make different kind of adjustments. And it is next man up. Like I said, with some of the guys who have been injured, we haven't been at full strength at all this whole season, and I don't know if we will. The hourglass is very low for that. But you try guys throughout the year. You try guys in different opportunities and situations, and the ones that are consistent are the ones that you go with. Toshi has played unbelievable the last 5 games, and he was someone where early in the year, some nights he was good, some nights he was terrible, some nights he didn't play, and I don't remember what the strategy was, or if there was foul trouble or something, but we went to him either in the last regular season game or the first playoff game, and he just started playing consistently. And when you come off the bench, you necessarily don't have to help a team, but you can't hurt a team. So some of the guys who are in and out of games and don't show up consistently in games is because they don't perform consistently. And Toshi just had a great streak lately of contributing.
Mhm. South Lakes had a tremendous soccer player named Toshi just 2 years ago. My son grew up playing club with him. Just an unbelievable player. I think he's at Amherst or one of those schools playing. Well, look, so you did lose a few games early, no problem. Some games that are closer than they're supposed to be, no problem. But I think the last month and a half or so, the season's gone pretty well. And I think it was clear that South Lakes again was going to be one of the favorites into the postseason. I think you had a tough district. I think Madison. I think you played you reasonably tough in the first half of the district final, but I think you won that pretty comfortably. Then in regionals, Yorktown came out, and I remember I had a choice between going to the Madison McLean game. I know players on McLean team very well, and of course I know all the Yorktown players. I've been to so many of their games. I didn't want any part of that game. I figured it'd be a 60-point win. And so I'm at the McLean game with NFHS on my phone, and it's 20-20. And I'm like, what is going on over there? Tell us about the Yorktown game.
Joe had his kids really, really ready to go. And they're my way too soon pick to win the Liberty next year because I think everyone comes back from that starting five.
Hmm.
They're physical. They hit the glass really well. They have really good pieces. Their point guard, Joe, I'm sorry, his name slips my mind right
Jake
now.
Cullum, tremendous.
Yeah, he gave us fits and just their size and you had that irony around that game. Go back to my first year. The last time we played Yorktown in a playoff game, they beat us for a district title. And rewind just a couple of months ago, their football team comes in and shocks our football team. So I don't know if they played into that at all. Um, but I think at least with my basketball group this year, having so many football guys for the first time, there was maybe a little tightness to start that game. But I mean, they gave us a great first half, and in the second half, that defense tightened up, and we just were able to make some plays.
Do you think it's good for you to have had that uncomfortable moment to have that going forward?
Yeah, I mean, that was regional playoff basketball. I think you have to understand on paper, one thing looks one way, and that's just paper. Paper doesn't climb nets or climb ladders and cut nets. So we expected every game to be a challenge. There's few teams that are able to say this, and they're all playing right now still for the most part, is that you knew every game was the other team's Super Bowl. Every game was the other team's best effort. And, you're in the regional playoffs, you're at home. I'm sure Yorktown's fans were ready to storm the court. So we get that from everybody. So it wasn't like, oh my God, panic mode. They just out toughed us in the first half, and we kind of needed that punch in the face to kind of dial in.
Well, yeah, and did it really well. Let's fast forward to the Madison game. Now, I would argue that Madison is played about as good as anyone in the whole area, maybe excluding South Lakes. But going and Hayfield's been playing really well. But going into that game, Madison has been playing really well. Obviously they graduated Miles Franklin, but his brother's emerging as a freshman. They're two guards. They control the game. They're great shooters. One of my favorite players I saw all year was Darren Nice. I think Darren Nicely's his name.
Yep.
He's a tremendous split end, but he's like an old school post player that played back probably when I played, maybe even
Yeah,
before you
when I
played.
play too. Yeah.
Yeah, just a kind of guy you love. I mean, just plays hard, kind of has the jab series. Not the most skilled basketball player you ever see, but just a top-notch player. I mean, top-notch high school player. And I thought going into this game, maybe Madison can play you well. They took you to overtime in the regular season, but I didn't mention Shunky. We haven't talked about Sol Vita and Brian Kennedy, your backcourt, tremendous backcourt. Uh, Jordan Scott, just a very composed, understated effort. I thought maybe that was your best game that I've seen out of you guys in a couple of years. But what did you think about that effort?
I mean, we again playing them 4 times for the second year in a row. This year playing them 3 straight Fridays, and you could argue going into the game Friday of the previous 12 quarters, they won 9 of them. We had the big lead over there that we had to hold on for dear life the first time, and I think we won by 9. Then the next time we played them, I think we only won by 8. And then we changed. Then we changed how we were going to play them defensively, switched the matchups around. I'm not going to say we over revamped us completely, but we changed a lot of some of our things that I was kind of worried about because some of these kids have had that kind of defensive mindset drilled into them for the last 3-4 years. So we were able to make changes and solve the benefit of it in the district finals. And it was a close game for 2 quarters, and we came out in the second half and just kind of stretched the lead out and made it tough for them to score. And then Friday, defensively Friday, we were all over the place. And, with us, we have some guys that can score, obviously, but we have to play good defense. And just the multiple efforts that guys were able to give us on the defensive end, was probably smothering to them at times. And, they had these long possessions. And when they have these long possessions and it results in a stop for us, we can go down if we don't score quickly while they're in zone. We're able to kind of catch our breaths and take a break, if you would, to refuel for the next long possession that Madison's going to try to have. So, yeah, we just played really good defense Friday.
Yeah, I felt bad for Anthony Mills over there. I'm sure he was taking notes, and I was like, "Wow, we better beat Patriot."
Bro, they're good. Potomac's,
Yeah,
they're legit.
well, yeah. Well, let's get to Potomac now. Potomac, coached by Anthony Mills. Now they have talent.
Yes.
I will say they have not had a lot of postseason success over the last few years, and you have a lot of players that have been there. Patriot has a lot of players that have been there. In these moments, does it help to have players that have been in these moments with the packed gyms and the lots on the line?
I mean, you can't teach height, you can't teach shooting, and you can't teach experience. So, we do have a lot of experience on our side. Guys have been in this game before. Some of them, this is their third straight time in the state playoffs. But Anthony's kids, that team, they got, and I'm sure we'll get into them, but they got players, man, and they do an excellent job of playing at their game, their pace. From the several games that I've been able to watch now, before we get into personal, they just do a really good job. If I've seen them come back from down a lot, I've seen them, hold on for being up a little, and they scored 60 points last night against a dominant Patriot team. So they play at a very good pace, and they don't seem to ever get out of that pace, no matter what the score is.
Yeah. Before we get to Potomac, I did want to shout out Aiden Billings too, another one of your 3-year stars who's had a really great career and continues to play a crucial role in the team. Now, when you talk about Potomac, you start with the Guzman, the guard. He's a high scoring guard. He's got a lot of experience, scored a lot of buckets.
He's a bucket. Yeah, he's a bucket.
And what's the big guy's name? They have the 6'6" big guy. He's been around for
what, 24, the big boy inside?
Yeah, he's been around.
I'm on numbers more than names.
Yeah, this guy's
we
got
don't have.
What's that?
Yeah, we don't have the turnaround, the length of turnaround as we had the last 2 years, right? Like usually this game was played on Friday the last 2 years. Now it's Tuesday. So I'm probably more number based than name based. I'll know their names by Monday at practice, but
they have some size. They do have some size.
I think they have a lot of size. I think they're athletic. I think what's kind of fun is they play tough man to man. They get after you, they pressure the ball. So we have to value the possession, value the ball, not do anything cute. But we don't see a lot of man to man. The time district play starts for us, we don't see a lot of man to man. So, we're going to have to do a great job polishing up our man to man sets and our man to man motions. But defensively, they get in you. Their guards are handsy. They seem to be extremely physical. Like you said, great size across the board. 23, also a bucket.
That's what I was talking about, 23. Yeah.
Yeah, the other guard, he's also a bucket. But you look at them and 5 and 23, they have, and this is kind of their team, they have this great pace about them. Those guys get their shots. They can get downhill. 5's great coming through ball screens. He's crafty, he's shifty, but those two guys can get to the kill zone and just elevate over people. And they're very comfortable making and taking what I call tough shots. They're tough shot makers. I don't know the white kid's name, number 4, but He's had multiple games with multiple threes. You definitely don't want to lose him. Yeah, 24 inside takes up space. Three comes off the bench and shoots it. Well, they all just shoot it too. You know, Coach Mills must have a lot of confidence in his guys because they're free-willing three-point shooters, all of them almost. So they're a tough matchup for us because our style of defense, we try to make teams get out of their stuff, right? We take away all your quick hitters, and we say, "Hey, play us one-on-one." And they're a one-on-one team. They're a pickup basketball team, and you know when they're playing up and down, and guys are just going ISO left and right, my turn, your turn, and they're making those tough shots. They can score. They can score in bunches. They have spurt ability. So I think Coach Mills has just done a dynamite job with that team, and he's got a lot of players. I looked at them and said, "Hey, you know, people talk about Patriot, people talk about South Lakes. We haven't talked about Potomac enough. They're good."
Right. White kid number 4. I'll make sure I tag you on this video.
Well, you can't tag me because I don't have social media.
Exactly.
Tag
Yeah,
one of our guys. They'll send it to me.
I can't tag you, but I can tag white kid number 4. So, well, that's Potomac. It's obviously going to be a great game. But the good thing about you have lots of different ways to play. You have quickness, you have size. You have a different you have a different recipe for any type of matchup, wouldn't you say?
I think if you're a casual fan and don't know basketball, we play many different ways on offense, and we can play many different ways on defense. And it's good to have multiple motions or quick hitters where you can move pieces around and still get a productive shot, even if it's not the way you've seen us run it 6 times on film or whatever. So, you know, having that in the bag is going to help us against a team like Potomac. You know, being able to play different ways, fast, slow, methodical, whatever. We've had to do it all year. So we could come down for X amount of possessions playing one way and then flip it over and play another way. And when you're in the state tournament, you have to give teams multiple looks.
Yeah. Are you glad you like the format? Like, would you rather go to a neutral site and play these 3 games, have a final 8? Are you glad that Potomac has to come and suffer through the tight rims of South Lakes High School?
I mean, it's nice for a home court advantage. It's nice not to have to get on that bus and sit in traffic. You know, the environment of a neutral site with multiple games being played would be fantastic. Where would that be played, right? You know, I'm all for, you know, meeting in the middle somewhere. I'm one of the idiots, I guess, in my region that says let's combine the 2 regions back into one giant region. Let's just have, you know, 2 multiple giant districts and throw away the district tournament, get into one all-in region and play it wherever. But you know, I don't make those decisions. I just roll with whatever's in front of me. But you know, I like us at home because I don't want to sit on a bus. It might be cold out. It might be rainy. You know, traffic could be a bitch. So, you know, hopefully Coach Mills kids forget to pack a lunch in that long bus ride and they get a little hungry and they're a little lethargic when they get to South Lakes on Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, someone is listening to us because, you know, we went back to having some double headers for the regional tournaments. You know, maybe we're going to go back to fewer champions and more competition. Did you get a chance to watch, or what were your thoughts of the West Potomac Hayfield result?
How about I don't know? How about I didn't watch it?
Yeah.
I didn't
You
watch.
heard West Po won?
I'm hearing it right now.
Oh, is that right?
Yep.
I think you texted me last night. I was already out. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I mean, this time of year, you know me, I'm looking and I'm listening, but the minutes the game was over Friday and I knew it was either going to be Patriot or Potomac and Patriot, however you want me to word it so no one gets pissed off at me. That's all I was really looking at on film and gathering film. Um, I think Los has done maybe his best coaching job um, in the last 3 years, although you can't say it's easy coaching, you know, the 2 teams he's had the last 2 years because of all that talent. And Dave's teams just, you know, they're playoff pain in the asses. So, you know, It could have gone either way, right?
Yeah, it was great playoff environment. So, Coach, I'm not asking you to look ahead, but who's in your bracket? So, if you beat Potomac, do you have any idea who you would play next year?
I've heard multiple different brackets. I think we play the winner of West Po Oscar Smith. I
Oh, is that
think.
right?
I think so.
Okay.
Um, but I also heard a week ago that we would then play the winner of Patriot Madison again. So, and even yesterday, the NFHS, the VHSL website had Madison and us listed as Region C, not Region D. So Roller and I were like, damn, are one of us driving to the beach? We didn't know about this. Like, what's going on? So I think it's the winner of Westbo Oscar Smith.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll work that out before that becomes relevant. And I understand that's going to be at a neutral but local site. So if you guys beat Potomac, it'll be at a place like Fairfax or Robinson. And hopefully they'll have two
I
games.
think it has to be in our region.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it couldn't be Fairfax
Oh,
or
that's true.
Robinson.
Yeah.
So I think it would have to be in our region. And I want to say the schools with it,
Westfield. It'd probably be at Westfield.
it could be Westfield, Centerville, WNL, or Yorktown. I mean, or Wakefield, because those are the other four biggest gyms other than ours, to my
Yeah.
knowledge.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, that'd be great. Well, Coach, well, look, this is great. Congratulations on another great
Thank you.
season. I know you're relieved because, again, when you have a team like yours, you can only lose during the regular season. So, but now you're in the postseason, you're where you're supposed to be. So I think you probably have a little more fun with it now. And so I'm excited for you. Potomac's going to be a great matchup. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I can't make it over, but I think it's going to be a great game. But I wish you the best luck. We got to, hopefully if you win, you'll join me and we'll talk about whoever else you'll have to play next.
Sounds like a plan. That would be amazing.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a high probability, and I think the bookmakers have you a solid favorite, but I don't want to jinx you. So
Appreciate it.
yeah, okay. All right, Coach. Well, great seeing you. Enjoy your Sunday.
All right, Julian, too, man.
Everybody, take care.